Manimaran, sir.
Okay, thanks, Suruchi. Thanks at the outset for organizing this. Hi, team. Welcome all to this session. Uh, this is going to be a very casual and cool session. I just want you to relax, lean back, and listen to me. You're most welcome to interact and give me your insights. Uh, this is one of the most important topics, critical one, I would say, given the pandemic situation, where there's going to be a paradigm shift from face-to-face working to virtual working. Managers are going to be elsewhere, the teams are going to be sitting somewhere, working from remote, working from home, whatever you call it, right? So that is going to happen, and we are forcibly put into it, that because of this pandemic situation. Now, there's going to be a real challenge there because the engagement between the employee and the management team, or the employee and the manager, I would take for this session, I would consider employee and manager. The engagement session is going to be quite complex, like how we're going to deal with it. Some IT companies, yes, they have been doing it's in vogue, yes, but majority of the other industries are as well going online now, right? So probably we need to look at how, as an employee, I'm not talking about the management side, but how from the employee side, no, I would consider myself as an employee too, to deal with the situation and how we could become a most valuable, most sought after employee, and an irreplaceable employee, and an awesome employee, as you call it. Okay, so I've been doing a lot of this corporate trainings and of late. So these are the questions I get from most of the employees. How can I become a valuable? So these are some of the questions. What are the best practices to be a valuable employee in a company, and etc. Right now, becoming a valuable employee or becoming a resourceful employee is definitely not a rocket science, right? It is just an art and science. If we know that, if we know how to manage the stakeholders and how to manage ourselves, it is very good way of projecting ourselves potential, and we'll become valuable end of the day. Okay, now there are two definite things which we need to do is to to know know our own job role, our own job duties, our daily job activities. It is a must. Now once you know that, once you know, okay, so once we know that, it's easy to manage the whole our delivery system, right? So okay, so let me come back to that daily activity. Now, whatever activity we do, whatever job assignment we do every day on daily basis, remember there's always an input and output to it. You take it, you just map it. Any official assignment, duty, project work, anything we do has got an input and has got an output, right? And this mapping has to be learned by the new entrants and people who are not faring well because they're not able to understand their own job duties which they have to discharge, right? So input and output. Now, this job activity which you do daily has to be aligned with the overall business unit's objectives or strategy or alignment, mission, goals. Now, for that, what you have to do, you need to know your company's or business's overall strategy, the big picture, what they are moving ahead, what direction they are moving, what products they are going to bring in, your managers, expectations as well, and the business picture of your own business unit. It could be IT, it could be sales, marketing, service, anything. So you need to understand how your daily activity is related to the overall organization's growth. If If that is not understood, it is going to be difficult for you to have a clarity and deliver with value. Okay. Now, the other point is also we need to understand what is expected from us, short term and long term as well. Okay. Short term and long term, they are both different goals. Like when you set the goals, you'll have short term and long term. So we need to know that, and we have to align with whatever the business strategy is. Now, remember, for every 1 rupee we get paid, every 1 rupee the company pays us, the organization pays us. We owe the company multifold, 3x or 5x or 10x. The ROI for the investment on us. Oh, believe me, take it from me, that end of the day, we are going to be valued by cost per hour of our services to fit into the overall revenue of the specific business unit you're working for. Even when they're retrenching, right, they would consider this. What is the cost of this resource and what is the output we are getting? So hence, this is a must, guys. Whatever we do daily, our outputs has to be in line with the overall business strategy. I hope you get it. If you don't understand, there's a Q&A session at the end of the hour, then we can discuss that. So the second thing is that becoming aware of our stakeholders, right? So every employee, right, has stakeholders, just like the company has the external customers, right? Now within the employee world, right, there is 4 types of stakeholders. I'll come to that. So it's good to have a self audit, on a regular basis, like who are the stakeholders I need to manage. I'll come to that. I've got a detailed picture for you. Right? What are the pressing business needs of them? And what is the best way to communicate with them? Verbal, audio, or just go and chat. Vocal. So all these things we need to make self-assessment. And what information they want from me, what details they want from me, to what degree of clarity they want. I'm telling you, all the stakeholders are not the same. Each one's capacity is different. We need to know that and deliver according to it. Right? And also, on top of it, we need to know to whom they are responsible for. Okay. Now here's a detailed picture. Every employee has 4 stakeholders: customer, manager, okay, the family, and finally yourself, like the employee. Right? This is a truth. This matrix is a real truth. Customer, when I say customer, please don't have a belief that it is only external customer, the client. No. It's both. People have external clients and people do have internal clients. Like for instance, marketing has sales team as a customer. They have to satisfy them. Sales has got external customers as the the clients outside as the external customer, and the product manager, whoever it is, the business, as their internal customer. So that customer definition is this. Now, this is just a framework. You take the juice out of it and apply it in your organization or in your way of work, right? So customer, when you say customer, he is the main stakeholder. Your output is going to him, say, for instance, end of the day, eventually. So what is the customer's working culture? I'm not talking about ethnic culture. His work culture, their timing, their demographical, timing and needs, right? Is his or her communicative type, how they want to be communicated. Some customers, in my experience, they would not like me to email to them. They want a message, link, Microsoft, whatsoever. They'll be happy with it. If you write an email, then they'll get bugged. Some will want email. Some they want it to record. Okay, so this is the communicative type of whom which you have to understand how you're going to correspond with. Okay, and the customer's commitment to their stakeholders. Okay, and you have to display your business acumen to the customer, your business knowledge of the own self, what you're delivering, your work, your assignment. So that has to be carrying the highest business standards for them, right? And of course, the KPIs, right? The metrics which is agreed for the customer, between the customer and the service provider. And at any time, you have to display your tenacity also, right? You should be able to grasp their business knowledge. It's about understanding customers' business or customers' issues, customers' pain points, customers' challenges to solve. That is our job. And finally, is to become a solution finder for them. So earlier we had called this customer satisfaction about 15 to 20 years ago. Then slowly it became customer delight. So we have to delight the customers. And then it became customer amazement. You have to amaze the customers. That sort of service they want. And finally, now, you know what? It is becoming a partner to the customer. Yes, you become a partner to the customer, a trusted advisor. Take it from me. This is the name. This is the buzzword. You have to promise, I'll be your trusted advisor. Will solve all your issues. Okay. So this is one side of all the customers' expectations, how you can manage, right? And then the manager is an important member in our family. Who can we forget? Within your business unit, it's up to you to know what are the manager's business numbers for your unit. Boss, I'm telling every unit works for revenue. No one works for charity unless it's NGO. Your manager is responsible for some number. Okay, we have to know that. Now, this one, some managers share it with employees or team members, but mostly they may not. And if it is not, nothing is going to harm you. You can go and discuss this. And of course, the expectations on deliverables, what he expects, and the manager's accountability to the highest, to his team, to his superiors, to his seniors. If you say, sir, why should I bother? My accountability, my work, I will do. No, have a chance to know your manager's accountability to the management team as well. His commitment to the stakeholders as well. His stakeholders, not yours, his. See, all these things, information, once you gather, invariably, naturally, you will start working. There'll be a trigger in you. Will start working and giving a biggest output ever. Beautiful, right? And of course, looking at a big picture, I told you, business's big picture is a must. If you go to office, yes, you should know what exactly your office or organization or your own business unit is doing. That's a must. And discuss with your manager on your career path. It's most important. Just have a friendly chat or formal chat. Ask him, sir, I work this much. My interest is in management. Where does the company give me when I can have it? What level? How can I reach there? So this sort of discussion will bring in your values, right? And will put you in the limelight. Sure. Okay. And not to forget, you have to get frequent feedbacks. I've got a separate note on that. I will share it with you. Okay. So these two are customer and manager friends of our family at corporate level, at office level. And now the biggest part is you need to deal with the family also, right? Our family is important to us. It's no use doing extremely well, extraordinary in the office. Come back home, fight with someone, get moody. No. What you do anything is what you do everything. So it's up to us to understand that our home, I mean, our home is not a house, it's a home. And we need to have quality time, spending with the family members. Harmony, enabler, and we act as a role model also. Okay. And finally, togetherness. And one important thing, no to anger. No to anger at home. What does anger do? Anyone? Anger, what does anger do? Anger shuts the brain shuts itself when you get angry. Do you know that? Have you seen people when they get angry? I don't know what to do. That's the protective mechanism. The brain itself doesn't like us to get angry. It shuts itself. You go to the prison. If you go to the prison, we interview with the prisoners. They'll tell you, I don't know what happened. I got angry at that moment. I cannot think. I finished him. So the same, the anger is detrimental to our career and as well as our own personal life. It's one of the yes, destruction. Thanks, Ashish. Anger destroys, and brain has the mechanism to shut it off. To shut off. That's why you don't know what to do in anger. Okay. Then finally, yourself. As an employee, you have to be truthful to ourselves, right? Should find ways how you can evolve. Okay. Having good mental health, fitness, because opportunities will come and go. Today you will have a bad time at office, but it's up to you to keep yourself fit mentally and physically, so that when the opportunity comes, right, you can grow. Feeling good about all feel at all times, no? Feeling good about you is most important, including me actually. Display professionalism in every act and carry ourselves gracefully when we are proved wrong sometimes. Yeah, if somebody says you're wrong, your manager says you're wrong, okay, just wear on a smile and just move out gracefully. Then you can later explain. Spend some time for your soul. The career is like working with your mind. It's the job for the mind. Okay? Job for the mind. But for your soul, you need to have some music, arts, finance, etc. Okay? So you need to have that. And please, ever learning. That is a mantra now. Your skills learning, okay, is a must to keep yourself upgraded, abreast with the latest knowledge, technology, skills, right? That will help you, it will keep your balance well. Correct. Panikar, you're right. You're not in control when you're angry. My door is shut. Okay. Now remember one major rule: don't burn bridges anywhere. In corporate office, your manager, your customer, please don't burn any bridges. The world is small today. It's miniature now with technology, smart connect, everything. Even if you leave your office fighting with your ex-manager, you join a new manager, a new company, believe me, their chances of getting connected. And it's not good on us, when they get a external feedback wrong on us. Okay. And remember the manager's success is also relies on our own success. It's not just ours alone, why we need to work with the manager. Engagement properly, to have engagement properly is because the manager's success is also measured on our metric. Okay. Right. I'm going to poll. Just chat in some answers. Mm, can you answer this? How many of how many of you think to continue working in a company is going to be challenging post COVID-19? Forgive my mistake. Can you poll? Say yes, no, don't know. Come on, everyone. Are you hungry? Dinner time. Can you poll? Yeah. Yes. No. Okay, I'm going to close the poll now. The result is 50%, 50%. They're telling no, it's not going to be challenging. And some say yes, majority of them, and some say don't know. Okay, right. There's okay, where's the other one? Just give me a minute. I'm just trying to search. Yes, yes. How many of you agree with this principle? Knowing your stakeholders' expectations will enable you grow higher. A must. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Predominantly, got an S for it. Thank you, guys. Let's move on. Okay. Right. So we saw these stakeholders, how we need to manage, how we need to tweak ourselves. See, changing other people's mind is very difficult. We know that psychology. When it comes to work, when it comes to work, changing a manager's mind is going to be difficult. But it's easier to tweak ourselves, to make a minor tweak within our strength, within ourselves, to the finest level, fine tune. Then the results would be fantastic, right? So in that alignment, right, the first step is I would encourage people to come to work. If you're coming on Monday to office on a Monday, please come with next 5 days schedule, meaning what you're going to do the next 5 days. This will help you a lot to have more clarity. And on the long run, a 3 months look ahead plan. What happens if you do this? If you have this proactive planning, there's a slightest chance we will miss on our delivery or commitment or whatever assignment or the output if we carefully plan this. And what if we don't? If there are chances of us missing our commitment, and that means it's a red flag on us, right? And moreover, this will help in the long run as a journal ritual. It will become a ritual for you as a journal. You know, writing journal is one of the best practices. It's proven. So you would have clarity in what you're doing, right? And act proactively if we follow this. So come to the office, just not blur, not with that day's work only. Come with the next 5 days. I assure you this is going to be fruitful. So if you plan for 3 months ahead, especially people who are in engineering or in project management, program management roles, if you plan this, you would know where you need external help, inputs from outside, insights from outside, procurement, say for instance, they would know which time they have to get this proactively. So the chances of failure in our responsibilities is minimized. And once this happens, you have a happy manager, you are a happy person, an happy employee will have will be producing happy results. This is what it is. So the planning is a must. Come to office with a plan ahead, with detailed planning, what you have to do, what you need to do, where you have to get help, and all that. Okay. What about now, Ritvik? I think my voice is clear. I think only you are telling me, but just check your system, please. Oh, this is one thing. So the next one is interesting one. See, you need to report your daily activities, whatever you have done, to your manager. It's imperative. It could be an email or you could meet him personally at the end of the day. or you can send a WhatsApp message. Just let him know what you have done for that day and what is your action the next day. Now, this will give a tremendous visibility to your manager. He will know what you're doing, he will know your strength. And this will also help him in cases where there's unplanned senior management meeting where he has to, present data. Keeping him well informed this way is a healthy relationship. Okay, you can do this by simple Excel or an email. You just send it to him. And doing this daily will also avoid any conflict of interest. Okay, so this will help on the long run, and any manager would love that. Right? Just writing what it is. Sir, today this happened. Today this did not work well because customer had issues because we didn't have the plant was not running. Even though he knows that, he's aware of it, you just write a note to it, formal note. This will help a lot even in your performance appraisals later on, right? When there is a issue that that there is the mean you have not performed well. At that time, I've seen managers saying you could have done like this, you could have done like that, you could have been proactive and all that. Now all that could be ironed out if only we could take just 5 minutes of our time daily, night at least. Let the team know or let the manager know, even the customers. If you have a dealing with customers, you have a engagement with the customer, you can just write to him daily, sir, this is what happened. My next day thing is going to be this. Can you help with this one? I'm having problem. This person is not responding to my request. Can you help me here? If this comes through, then we can finish it tomorrow or day after, online, on time, with no delay. So there's a chance of this practice leading to under commitment but over delivery, value delivery. One day before schedule, one day before the deadline, 2 days before the deadline. Just imagine how your stakeholders will be happy if this happens. So your proactive planning plus your daily reporting, right, will help on the long run. Now, one more thing is important. This aspect is the most important one of all, getting the feedback from the customer and the manager. So this feedback will help to improve or transform yourself bit by bit. I'm not telling overnight, bit by bit. This you can ask the customer voluntarily. So can you send a note on my performance? How was my engagement with you? Please, this will help me to improve. Don't write. Tell him if you give me a positive feedback, I'll get a promotion and salary hike and all that. No, don't do that. On the contrary, tell them that this will help me to transform myself. Right? I can work more with my manager to help you out. So on. And similarly with the similarly with the manager himself. So you just get his feedback on how to improve. And if there are cases where you have lapsed, then you can explain to them this is what it is, and then what action you're going to do. That see, it is whatever you're reporting lapses. When you're reporting lapses, please include what is your next appropriate action immediately in that same report. Or if you're talking to them, tell them this thing failed today, we didn't do this, we didn't complete the job, but I have plans to do it tomorrow or the day next. I'm planning like this. So that negativity is ruled off. Okay. And this would also help you in your performance appraisals. There is a lot of chance of you getting higher rating. Okay. And if you don't do all this, don't get a feedback, and then one fine day when there is a rating process going on, You will be surprised. Okay. So all this, whatever I'm telling, right, is based on my experience, is what I've seen people and how the leaders act. And now it's too stressful for the leaders. And these small, small things, it's not rocket science. So we can do this wherever we are, whichever field we are. We can apply this to have an engagement. And from ourselves, we should promise the delivery, right? Put the output with value. Okay. Now, the other one is keeping continuously upgrading ourselves. I think so completely keeping continuous education of ourselves. Our career now is becoming a marathon, right? Marathonic. We have to keep going. We don't know when companies will close, when companies will go bust, when we have to go for changes, which new companies will require new skills. So it's up to us to find out whatever technology skills are in future for the current role we are doing and apply them, learn them, okay, to keep yourself upgraded. Now, one thing is one nice gesture which normally some people do is though they learn new skills themselves, they come to the office and share that knowledge with others, the whole other team. It could be finance, it could be sales, marketing, anything. You share whatever knowledge you have gained. And this will create a visibility on you. And everybody knows it. This will create a visibility for a potential opportunity in the next project or the next expansion, right? So this gesture you can do, come and share all the knowledge and ensure that particularly your manager or senior management knows, even the customer knows that you have acquired new skill timely. Okay, so this is a must activity which one should be doing by default. And take it from me, uh, today's today's challenging thing is that still the corporates say that 92%, it was 87 in 2019. Now they say 92% of Indian graduates are unemployable. I mean, or employable. I mean, basically, they lack employability skills, they lack knowledge, they don't have the skills. And the worst part is people are not able to be retrained because of the attitude. They're not able to learn even new skills, even if the organization is ready to teach them. So all these are happening, and unless we take care of ourselves, right? We take care of our professional knowledge, whatever skills we improve. Nobody is going to help us further anymore. And one more thing. So people are, as I said, this paradigm shift is happening. The work routine, the office routine is going for a toss. They're talking about gig economy. You know what is gig? So no more there'll be permanent people, permanent staff, likely in some cases. They'll be working as freelancers. So one person will be working for multiple companies, for multiple projects based on whatever the cost per project or cost per hour. So all those things are going to evolve now. And only the people with skills, with relevant skills, employable skills will be competitive, will get the order. So this is what is envisaged. This is going to happen. So it's high time that we look at. And this, I'm telling you, there's no age for skilling. Also, if you don't feel that age, no, restricts learning. No, it's BS. No, any age you can learn anything because of the technology. Today, the education is that has multiple technologies, right? Video, audio, whatever. Gone are those days. We had to read from the textbook. But now learning is becoming easier, has become easier. So we can learn all the skills, whatever required. Now, now apart from your whatever domain you're working, right? Sales, marketing, blah, 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 the domain works, you need to learn enterprising skills as well. I'm not going to call it as soft skills because that word soft skills itself has ruined the field. Anybody now he calls a soft skill coach or something like that. So what are these enterprising skills you need to know apart from your technical skills or your functional skills or a core engineering skills? You need to develop analytical skills. You need to know how you can analyze trends. You need to know how you can forecast, do some forecast. I'm not talking about budget, but even in your own activities, right? And problem solving. Problem solving skills is possible only if you have an analytical mindset. You should have that. Resilience. We don't know what changes are going to come. The environment is changing at the fast pace. Companies change, management change, processes change, people change, managers change. Today there's one manager, tomorrow you'll have a different virtual manager. They come from different culture altogether, different country, and all these things you need to adapt by developing these resilience skills. Okay, you can't say my ex-manager was smooth with me, he was happy with me, he was very nice with me, pampered me. But whereas this new boss is from America, USA, he snaps at me the moment he sees me virtually. These all are the complexities we face now. So the basic thing is to understand, okay, things change, people change, time change, and we need to adapt ourselves. And boss, detailing skills. Anything you do, down to the minute spot, you have to write, be detailed enough, pay attention to it. Right down to the minuscule detailing. Anything you do, detailing is a must, detailing skills. Then process innovation, of course. Now you call it as thinking out of the box, design thinking, whatever you call, these skills are a must. So whatever you're doing on a routine basis, mundane jobs, you need to know how you can do it creatively. Okay? You need to know how you can do them in a different way, the creativity. Okay. So detailing and the process innovation is how reinventing yourself daily needs creative thinking. That's a must. Okay. And the latest mantra on skilling is storytelling. How many of you have heard storytelling skills required? Storytelling is a must skill, whichever field you are in. Okay. Now, all these things, yes. All these skills, yes. When you're working, remember, you need to now develop business acumen. Okay. Meaning, every organization, every company, every firm, they will sustain as long as there is revenue gathering, right? Revenue increases, incremental revenue year on year. If that doesn't happen, then they will start closing down. Now, as an employee, you should develop from now onwards, know how you can bring business to the company, how you can refer business to others. It could be incremental business with an existing customer as well. More business referrals, business storytelling. how you can explain complex business process to your customer so that there is no rejection or no objection, no turning down. And how do you talk about business performance reporting, dashboard management to the management? Now, guys, this one is an important skill because if you learn this, you will have a parachute, you will have a fallback, a cushion. How, in case by touch wood, there's a job loss, you will wear this parachute and you have a very high chance of becoming an entrepreneur or a freelancer or a solopreneur, whatever. There's so many preneurs now. So remember, while you are in the job, please inculcate these skills. How to, even there's a one topic called business English. You should know how you can communicate and persuade and negotiate with the customer. These are the basic business skills: negotiation, persuasion, and all that. So learning these skills is a must. So storytelling, Sumit Sinha, is that you are able to explain any complex process by means of stories and by explaining, breaking down into small smaller steps. Okay, so that is what is storytelling mean. It's not the Mahabharata and Ramayana. It's about explaining complex processes, breaking them into simple and showing them visually so that the customer or anyone absorbs it. Okay. How about now? Is my voice audible? Sumit Sinha, I think you need to check your system. I see the others don't have. Yeah, Karthik Podila. Yes, you have to be very good in writing decent emails. So there is an ethics in writing emails also. How you can write business emails. Don't write big stories. The absorption time, guys, reading an email is only 90 seconds. Take it from me. Now, no one reads emails in their system. They read in mobile phone. And the reading time is 90 seconds. So in an email, you have to convey the whole message in 90 seconds. Don't write a big story. You write an email, say action required, action not required. This is for your information only. And then you write the body. Right? So the email communication is also important. It becomes part of the business communication. So that also has got a logic right now. You don't have to write a big history of what happened and all that. Be very crisp, short. The person whom you're writing to, is he required to act or not to act? It's just for information. So these skills we have to inculcate. Huh? Okay. So I've got a polling here. Let me poll. What is it? P3. I'm sorry, I lost that. Okay. Anyway. Okay. So so far so good, guys. So far so good. Have you understood what we were discussing? Say yes, no, sorry. Repeat once again from the beginning. Something. Can you write there, chat? Okay. So I'm not sure this recording will be available to you or not, but please don't wait till such time. Just ask me any questions you feel free to know, right? Okay. Now, one of the most uh, liked skill by any manager, right, is yourself as an employee, as ourselves, trying to look at a bigger picture. You know what? What is a bigger picture means? We have to put ourselves on the employer shoe, the manager's shoe, whoever it is, the owner's shoe. Look at what are things to come in store for us. We have to put ourselves wearing the manager's hat in your corporate or the person whom you're dealing with, even for the customer. We have one big businesses, additional businesses from the same customer. Once we like put ourselves in customer shoes and come to know, find out, investigate, they're going to expand. So we can expand like this. We can also do that. We can help you do expansion. So these things will help only if you have the bigger picture. And once you know this, right? Once you know how this goes, the senior leaders will love to have this. They promote all these mid-level managers to senior managers, the entry level to mid managers. This is one of the criteria it's been looked at. How how best you know the whole picture, where the company or the firm or the organization is heading to, how we are going to manage this. So not only your fraction of work, but you should also look at from the manager's perspective, the bigger picture, what is going to be in store, where is the company going. And this exercise, guys, will help you to determine any prospective or potential growth opportunity exists elsewhere in the same company. It's advantageous to us once we know the whole big picture, what they're talking about, how they're going to expand. They're going to open another branch, or they're going to have a new client, they're going to have a new project. What is all about? The curiosity. So those things will help us in the long run. And you show visibility when you showcase this, when you go and discuss with your manager, stakeholder in this fashion, it creates a spotlight on you. And you have chances of being promoted because you're thinking above yourself, above your jurisdiction, right? So this is how leaders are born. This is how. Okay, thanks, Sriram. So all these things we saw right now, that is to do with some skills, right? Now, what is happening at the emotional intelligence level, our emotional level? As I rightly said earlier, a happy employee. That's why we say be happy at home. When you are happy at home, you're happy at office. Once you are happy at office, you are happy employee. Your productivity will also be improved. Okay. Now, what does this emotional intelligence mean? Now, emotional intelligence means is your capability, our capability of being aware of our mood swings, our emotions. The emotion is nothing but motion, the energy in motion. It follows a thought, a negative thought, or whatever, a positive thought. So there are four limbs of emotional intelligence. First, you have to be self-awareness minded. Okay, self-awareness you should have. It means becoming aware of your own moods and feelings. Right. Empathy. Empathy is putting yourself in others' shoes and understanding their emotions and working towards it accordingly. If a manager is snappy, if he's angry, right, if he's not well receiving you, you should have an empathy to think that he may have had a bad time at home or a bad time with the senior managers. Okay, so this sort of sensibleness, empathy is required. And self regulation, meaning we can regulate our moods, we can regulate our feeling, our emotions. So thinking before we act in cases of extreme sensitive cases, right? That is what is called self-regulation. And the social skill is a must. Social skill means networking, relationship. Networking is going to be the biggest job search factor If you are searching for a job, please expand your network. No need of focusing on a CV anymore. Network people, your people in the network only can they're going to promote your jobs. Take it from me, right? So emotional intelligence, we call it as EQ or EI, is most foundation for critical skills in an employee. Okay, right? And and we know the positive emotions, but what we need to do about the negative emotions? First of all, why these negative emotions happen? Because there's a shortfall in our expectation. If you can understand this much, we can manage our emotions. Shortfall in our expectations. Why does a manager get angry at us? Because our output is not as per his expectation. He gets angry. Okay. So these are the inhibitors, like whatever I've listed. These are key emotions, like excessive future anxiety. Anxiety kills your productivity. You know what? Whether I'm going to lose the job, what I'm going to do. That sort of anxiety will hamper, will jeopardize, will ruin, will destruct your productivity. Let them go. Fear. Now, fear is a big story. There's a separate chapter on how you have to handle fear. Because fear, just as I said, brain shuts it off when you get angry. Fear is a protective mechanism also. Both your mind and body wants to protect you based on some past activity where you had suffered. Now, understanding fear is important. Fear is emotion, right? You take it to your heart, you take it to your body, but what you need to do, have concern. Have a concern. Concern is better than fear. Your concern, yes, I'm going to lose a job. Okay, what next? What shall we do? We'll look for skilling or other companies, yes. Or can we improve in the same company? I go and talk to the manager. Sir, due to these reasons, I was not able to fare well. Okay, from now onwards, I will fare well. Yes, it comes from insecurities. Okay? Fear. Don't fear. Have a concern. Concern will help you to move on. Whereas fear, you get demoralized. And then sadness for something, frustration, worry. Worry is always the past. Thinking about what happened yesterday, why that guy scolded me, why this guy didn't, he turned away from me, I lost my interview. All these are worry, guilt, lethargic after a specific incident. Have you seen people becoming lethargic? They don't move. After something may have happened and they're totally becoming lethargic. They start hating people, they start hating their manager, they go to the filter, water filter area, and then start gossiping, complaining negatively about people. All these are negative emotions. Non-challenge and no energy, some people they lose interest on the job, the activity, and they lose their job and they become inert. That's also sort of an emotion. Bias on others' achievement today is all over the place. If the manager praises somebody in front of you, you get biased. If somebody gets a reward in your team, your peers, you get biased. You don't want to work anymore. Either you bring down your self-esteem or you neglect work. So these are some of negative emotions. We need to be aware and let them go. The work principle, the principle in life is always to move on. That's it. There's no point getting emotional and spoiling the health, both mental and physical health. And our body is not created for that. Positive emotions, yes. Okay. So, having listed the negative emotions, how can we deal with them? How can we cope with them? Okay. there are few methods. Okay, no, before that, the another, as I told you, bias. When you get biased with others' achievements, another important 70% of this negative emotion rises from criticism in office. The manager criticizes, the team criticizes, some customer will be criticizing you. This once they get this criticism, they are down, gone, all their energy gone. I will not work. What to do? I put so much of work. I worked last night, burnt my midnight oil till 1 I was working. This guy says you should improve further. So this criticism, the aftermath when you get emotional is very bad for your progress. Now, how to do it is just take those criticism, assess for a second whether what they say is true or not. If it is true, admit and go on. Improve yourself. Action. Next, what is the next best action? Rather than brooding yourself. Yes, criticism will happen anywhere. Even at home, criticism happens. We are not perfect, right? But if we take it in a positive sense and move on, and if it is false, somebody says, no, you're stupid enough to do this. And if you know that is not true, forget it. Move on. Nobody has time to worry about you. I'm telling you. Nobody is going to think about you in their mind. So don't become a football in other people's mind, like thinking that, others are going to put me down. No. If you're down this today, come up next day. Show your strength. Okay? So these are some of the strengths. And how do you cope up with this negative emotion? The first thing is not to react. People say, be responsive, don't react. There's a lot of difference between these two words, these two strategies. React is knee jerk react. You do it immediately. Manager snaps, you snap at him back. Customer says something, you snap at him back, thinking that relationship is over. Now, who is going to bear it? Who's a loser? Okay, so everywhere this is going to happen. But be responsive. When you say responsive, you choose to act or not act. That ability is there. You should develop. Okay, the clarity. Now, if you get these emotions, what you have to do is, this is a proven method, guys. I'm telling you, just bring your focus to your breath. Just shift your focus from outside into your breath or to your navel. Why navel? Navel is your source of, where nature has given us, connected us. So you become the source. Once you become the source, nothing can impact you. And you think best next. And watch your body calm down. That's it. This is a proven method. You become the breath itself. You know that you're going to get angry. Watch that emotion go, and you become inert, quiet, calm. You're not going to spoil the body. You require the body for further actions. Forget this instance. There are other instances which are going to come, opportunities, potential opportunities. If you can't do this, step one. Step two, move your position. Stand up or move your head this way, or stretch or do something. Change your status, your position, stature. Third point, wear a smile and take a deep breath. Bindas. Whatever happens, let it happen. I'm not going to give that situation. The last point is just you can just move away with silence. We are born with silence. Silence is our nature. Stillness is a nature. So we can control the emotion. We can manage how we have to react to situation. That's absolutely with us. Don't listen to all the sadhus, sannyasis who make you addict to come to them. Right? They say you cannot control emotions, you cannot control thoughts. No, that is all BS. BS, you know, right? BS. Remember, we can always change how we feel. We can't control the incidents, the events outside. These are the data points outside. But internally, I'm going to keep myself peaceful. I'm not going to be worried. I have to move on to my next best position. So that is what you need to do. Okay, coping up with your negative emotions. Now, in spite of all your working, writing reports daily, working for 8 hours, sending out planning and all that, end of the day, take a minute of meditate. Meditate means not I'm not talking about very complex meditation. Just to observe your breath and relax. Let all the thoughts, whatever good or bad happened in the office, let it go. Just sit down, relax, and the emotions will automatically. They have no choice. They'll have to come down. You know why? Anything that rises in the body or in the mind has to come down. This is a simple principle, just like waves. If it rises, it has to come down. It can't stay there. Person's anger can't stay. Okay, a person's jealousy, no, it's just going to come down. Remember, if you know this, if you are aware of this, you can control any emotion and move on. Okay, so this is a must. If especially if you are working in a multitasking environment, challenging times, please take a time off in the evening. Just come down, throw all your bags, and then just relax for some time. Become yourself. Get ready for the next day. Okay. Right. Final words, guys. You see, just like this pandemic situation, right? Now we need to go out with masks. Why? Because of threat to our life. Similarly, in the job situation, in the career, in the entrepreneur life, in the business life, threats are going to come. But how can we keep ourselves safe? Is only by upskilling, reading a lot of books, acquiring knowledge, knowing what is happening, and knowing the latest technology, what next. This information we need to, whether you like it or not, we need to acquire on daily basis. Read knowledge. What happens if this is going to go? This is the only savior going forward. We are going to have problems, issues. We don't know when this COVID is going to be putting us back into normal gear. We don't know. But in these times, when I say this, all these companies are going to go for, gig employees. So they will look at specialists. So the future is specialist. You are not a generalist. Please, if you're in finance, then go for specialization. Learn blockchain technology. If you're in IT, go for AI. If you're in manufacture, find out what is Industry 4.0 means. Learn it. And today they are free all over the place. This will help you to shield ourselves. It's a cushion, right? It's a shield for us, how we can save ourselves. And then remember, our career is always a marathon. It's never a sprint. And we need to grow stronger, stronger, and stronger. And how we need to go stronger only by scaling up, skilling and scaling up ourselves, making us more valuable. Okay, that is important. And for heaven's sake, this is the final word. Don't ever attach yourself. Or rather, it's for me also. We shouldn't get attached to the organization, to the people whom we work for. Okay. So if you look at the picture, it's a very old picture, but it's got a lot of meaning. It's no harm refreshing it. A bird sitting on a tree is not afraid if the branch breaks off. And remember, the branches are going to break soon. We don't know which branch will break in terms of corporate and career world. But your strength is on your own wings. Your strength or our strength is our skills and personality strength. If we can do this, if we can equip ourselves, our life is going to be fantastic. We'll become more valuable. Remember, we should always be somebody who's difficult to replace. With that, I close the session, but I open to Q&A session. Sirichi, can you please help me on that? If any questions, please, guys. Please, guys.
I think we did the first poll. By mistake, I think we did the first poll that I was supposed to ask you on.
No, data analytics.
Sorry.
Data analytics is a must for sales. You have to know which demography, which customer, where they are going to buy, which product they have gone, and how how you're going to sell your product, and your competitors' goal, what they are doing newly. Go to Amazon, click and find out. So this data analytics is a must for sales. Okay, Sumit Sinha, freelancing and contract job, yes, they are going to become more a part of gig economy. Yeah. No, Srishi, I'm not able to hear you. Importance of role models, Karthik, in life, yes. Importance of role model in family, you have to know how you are going to deal with situations with a high sense of grace. Now, your family should be able to know ascertain that in your absence, how they could have handled the situation like you in an emergency. That is the exact meaning of role model. Okay, so that's being a role model. As a even when you are managing things in a corporate, you should be able to teach the team become a role model, meaning that even without your presence, the thing should go on. Company should go on. Duty should go on. This is a role model. Controlling your emotions, carrying away gracefully is all important.
So can you
Report
hear me now?
writing, Tandon is most important. You have to learn business communication skills.
So can you
Because
hear
as
me
I said,
now?
now report writing has become a paramount importance. People have only 90 seconds, 60 seconds. They read from mobile, not from desktop or PC. So within the report writing, within this 90 seconds, how fast can you convey, communicate? This is most important. Okay. Yeah, Tandon.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if we have
Thanks,
concluded,
Ravi. Sriram Balasubramaniam, thank you so much. Rajesh, thank you. Karthik, hope you have got it right. I hope all of you would become very good leaders and becoming valuable. No, that is most important. Becoming valuable in life, in both office and in family and within yourself. Right? Most important. So when you do succession planning as a supervisor, you groom a leader from within your team. Hence, you make yourself replaceable. No, that is not true. It's not about replaceable. It is becoming you moving. Once we create a leader, we look at higher horizons. We move up. Sky is the limit. So anybody can take the place, but not the leader's own specific strength, skills, attitude. Nobody can steal it. Right? So as a leader, yes, you create a leader, and things should go on in your absence. And you take up a higher role, climb up the high ladder. Okay, that's it. And then I just explained, report writing is important. Essentials would be how crisp can you keep it? Learn the vocabulary. And then you need to learn the vocabulary of your business terms. How you want to convey the message crisply. Nobody has time now to read a report, read a very lengthy report. So, right, if you're talking about a specific report, you start with the essence, outline, Okay, outline, action required, challenges, answers, and finally the summary and conclusion. So introduction, the case study, the challenge, how do you solve it, the resolution, and the summary. You got it, Tandon? Yeah? Yeah, any more? Yes, Rajesh. Yeah, yes. Sorry, I couldn't, was slow in catching up with the chat. Any more questions? Tandon, was that enough on the report writing? Thank you, Tandon. Thank you.
Great. Probably all can hear me now. So I would like to thank everyone for attending the webinar, and I would like to thank Manimaran sir for coming in today and delivering this awesome webinar. Thank you so much, everyone, and I'm going to end the webinar on this.
Management. Manish, you need to know how